Hello, sunshine lovers. First off, I have some explaining to do to my subscribers. I've disappeared for 2 years without a word. The truth is, I became a corporate girly and got complacent with my new identity. It's so easy to get lost in a new job, get chatting with new people, join every social committee there is, enter a dish for every potluck. I mean, the job itself is somewhat easy. I get to work from home 2 days a week. I got social benefits, and I've never earned this much in my life. And yet, with my 57k salary, I still can't afford to move out on my own in the GTA without blowing 3/4 of my paycheck. I could look for roommates and move in with complete strangers. Or I could move out in some sketchy apartment in the countryside and commute for 2 hours a day. No, 2 hours going to Mississauga, 2 hours back, so 4 hours a day. We all have to start somewhere. Only I'm in my 30s now, so not exactly starting. Yeah, we live in weird times. But I got a good little routine going. Let me tell you, it's perfect. On Friday nights, I plan ahead all the meals that I'm gonna have for the upcoming week, and I do my laundry. That way it's done. On Saturday, I go grocery shopping. That way it's done. On Sunday, I meal prep for hours upon hours in the kitchen. And before you know it, it's Monday. Back to the grind. Woo! In between my tight new schedule, I dedicate time to read, write my story, live, and go to Pilates. And also bachata and salsa classes. I started that recently. It's going very well. Life is good. You're not buying it, are you? Yeah, neither am I. But you know what? In the 3 very short months of summer that we have here, it's easier to manage this desire for more. Summers in Canada are lovely and warm. My family and I make plans to rent an Airbnb by a lake, and we take our dogs with us on paddle boards. But come November, and suddenly my perfect routine is becoming harder to repeat day after day after day. I've never been this affected by the lack of sun before. This is a new phenomenon for me. I mean, I was born and raised in Quebec City. Quebec City! So you would think I'd be immune to seasonal depression. No one is safe. Behind me is my vision board. And right now it's serving as a reminder that my life is in disalignment with what I truly desire. And that's okay. That's the whole point of making a vision board, I guess. What is not okay is for me to just sit there, look at it, and think what you want wants you back. Just wait. Have blind faith in the universe. Surrender fully, and the people and experience will magically turn up in your life. Girl, I'm still waiting. And since nothing has changed in 2 years other than my day job, it's time for me to take some action. So, this winter, instead of crying in my room, I'm going to be making my very own cozy fantasy romance webtoon. I've always known that one day I would be illustrating a comics. I just never knew that it would fall under the fantasy genre. Yet here I am. This story would just not leave me alone. And it's exactly the type of story that I want to read right now. Something lighthearted, comical, romantic, with a tiny dose of angst. Just a tiny little bit. For those of you who don't know what webcomics are, hello, younger brother. These are just a comic series that you read vertically on a mobile app, such as WEBTOON or Tapas. And normally, these series are produced by studios, meaning multiple writers, multiple artists with different jobs. So one artist would do the line art, another one would do the coloring, another one would do the background or generate it accordingly. But there are also thousands of brave souls out there posting their own web series on a webtoon canvas, and they've inspired me to do the same. My goal is to have everything written and illustrated before posting the first chapter, because I have an ADD brain and I don't do well with tight deadlines. I'm also someone that enjoys series that are not too long. I like to tie up my little stories in nice bow and leave it as that. My pet peeves are series that are being stretched out, like the Vampire Diaries. It should have ended at season 2, let's be honest. Especially because they had people die, come back. Like Jeremy, the brother, and Bonnie. She died a few times too. Once you're dead, you're dead. You shouldn't come back. I went through all this emotional turmoil for what? Anyway, another pet peeve of mine. So, this is day 1 of creating a webtoon series to avoid seasonal depression. I am self-taught everything, by the way. So, my expectations are up here, and my skill level is probably down here. But I don't care at all. Okay? I'm very much Delulu, and I think it's gonna be funny to see the contrast between the gap there. So, the next episode, yeah, this is a series. But the next video will be all about the character development. Yay, I can't wait to show you. And I don't think you'll be disappointed with the hero.
His eyes were intense and focused, and I've never seen such eyes.
Oh, shall I leave you on the blackboard alone?
With that said, I'm going to get started, and I hope these next few vlogs bring you some comfort, as I'm sure you're also going through your own creative projects. And sorry again for disappearing. I'm now back with the burning desire to take control over my life and to cook up a binge-worthy love story. Talk soon.
Why did I decide to make a webtoon? Why do this to myself, really? When I was 12, I dreamed of becoming a mangaka, only to get discouraged after graduating high school. As delusional as it may be, I can see myself as a webcomic artist. I can vividly picture telling someone I just met, "That's right, I got a webtoon series named blank and it gets X millions of views per episode." That would be nice, actually. Going back to the story itself, I did not fully address why I once put an X on the whole romantasy genre. I think I got intimidated by the world building, the maps, the politics, writing fighting scenes and magic systems. It takes a long time to fine-tune all these details. That, and I also had trouble as a reader envisioning a scene where magic was involved. I remember as a child reading the first Harry Potter book many times over, unable to understand if the snake was behind the glass or not, if the professor was a cat or not. There were too many elements I could not picture in my mind, and so I gave up after reading a few chapters. Good things the movies came out a short time after. Speaking of time, when I come home from work after surviving rush hour traffic, I'm completely drained. Plus it's dark, which doesn't help. I tried waking up earlier, at 5 a.m, to prioritize writing, but then I had trouble functioning for the rest of the day. My work requires me to be tied to the phone, answering callers' urgent requests. It can be challenging to brainstorm ideas at the same time or during my 15 minutes breaks. It's a lot of multitasking, but I still do it. Now you can probably understand why I come home completely done with life. That's how the story came to be, by the way. Real world fatigue. Wanting to leave modern life and its expectations to be in nature and live a softer life. Although I'm a city girl, it brings me a lot of comfort to be in the city, actually. I feel like I'm part of society, even though everyone's a stranger, and I mostly stay at home. I like to have the option of eating foods from all over the world, to have my Amazon order delivered the next day, even though I never paid for Prime. Bougie stuff like that. I've experienced life in the country, so I'll never say I wouldn't do it again, but the city is my preference. As I mentioned earlier, I did not go to school to learn how to draw or write for that matter. I just have a big interest, plus the patience to learn the crafts. I love sketching. I love sketching so much so that I never finish an illustration. My notebooks are filled with heads of characters, with maybe a collar showing. I don't draw closing, full bodies in action, and I never color. I suck at coloring, for now. I debated whether or not I should even color my comic. But just looking at the WEBTOON landscape, I worry that my story will just get lost in a sea of colors. It's good, in a way. With colors I can challenge myself, set the tone, and be creative with it. I really struggled with the line art here. I began with the softer brush to do the sketch, fell in love with the way it looked, then I had trouble using a sharper, thinner brush to build on top of it. It wasn't quite the same. Another thing I realized when it comes to colors is that I'm terrible at selecting them. Everything was super saturated and not at all what I'd envisioned. So I went on Pinterest to check out my color board, and the first image that caught my eye right on the homepage was that of a goddess. It was exactly what I was going for, so I copied it. Is that cheating? I don't know, but if I must cheat, so be it, because there's only so many hours I can work on a comic. This illustration alone took me 11 hours to complete. Oops. But who knows, maybe I will eventually develop an eye for selecting the right colors. Eventually. I'm such a noob when it comes to digital art that I had to look up the word rendering, because the whole erasing and making lines sharper part I did not understand, as you can probably see. My predictions for the comic are: I will end up coloring on top of soft sketches. It will have this unfinished look to it. My art style will evolve, and I will finally have it all figured out while making the very last panel. The character development, on the other hand, will be chef's kiss. As for the time it's going to take, unsure. What I do know is that I have a lot of realizations and progress to share with you along the way. There is so much I'm learning all at once. How to use my new camera, how to edit videos in DaVinci Resolve, how to use my iPad in Procreate, how to color, how to render, how to communicate my story through dialogues and visuals only, how to create a WEBTOON panel. The list goes on and on. Am I crazy? You don't need to answer that. I'm giving myself grace. I don't want to take the same approach I did 2 years ago when I started posting on this channel. Otherwise, I will burn out quickly. Even my laptop crashed and burned. I had to replace it. The whole point is for me to avoid a bad case of winter blues by losing myself in a fictional cozy village. And whether or not I can pull it off, this webcomic will be published anyway.